Hey there, it's Marlene Helema from ImageMaven.com. In this video, I'm going to show you how to edit RAW files right in the camera. The camera, of course, Lumix G9. Let's take a look. Welcome back, subscribers, and if this is your first time here, well, thank you for checking me out. I teach photography, photo editing, a bit of lighting, and I'm a huge fan of Lumix cameras. Please subscribe so you don't miss any of my future videos. So why would you want to develop RAW files in the camera? Well, the main reason is often when people get a new camera, they have older software. Maybe they have an older version of Photoshop or Lightroom, and their old software won't open files from new cameras. I mean, that is the biggest issue people have when they buy a new camera, because there's this domino effect. You get a new camera, your software doesn't work, your old software. You get new software, guess what? Your computer's too old for that software, and it's like a domino effect. And I've actually got a blog post about that as well, and a video to go with it. And my #1 video of all time, my #1 YouTube video is how to open RAW files. Because people get stuck with new cameras. They don't know how to open RAW files, so they gotta convert them with the DNG converter. And even if your software is new, sometimes Adobe doesn't keep up with the updates to the camera RAW or the DNG converter. And that's the main thing. So if you've got a brand new Lumix and it can process RAW files internally, then you can do it while you're waiting for the other stuff to get upgraded. So anyway, that's the main reason why you'd want to do this. Honestly, I shoot JPEGs most of the time. I process internally in the camera, and I'm super happy, I would say 99% of the time, with my images coming straight out of the camera. I also shoot video that way. I preset everything in the camera for video, and they come out of the camera just the way I like it. I don't have to mess around with color correction and editing, because trust me, video editing is a pain as it is. It's very time consuming, and to color correct video and to change exposure when you've messed up, to me, it's faster just to reshoot the clip properly and get it done right in the camera. Also, if you want to match photos and videos together, perhaps do hybrid things, then you do that in the camera. So let's get out and do some photos. It's a very crisp -15 Celsius outside in Calgary, but the sun is shining, the sky is blue, and the snow is fresh and white. Okay, so let's edit a RAW file. So the first thing you do is go into your menus, and you go down to your playback menu, and on page 1 of 3, you see RAW processing. So you choose that, and you navigate to one of your photos. I'm just going to use this one. When you're ready to start editing, hit set, and the RAW processing menus come up. So let's go through our choices here. So you can edit white balance, you can edit your brightness, you can change your photo style, you can adjust eye dynamic, which is the dynamic range of your image, you can change the contrast, you can do the highlight curves, so you can affect the bright areas and the dark areas using the shadows. You can change your saturation, you can adjust noise reduction, change the eye resolution, sharpness, and in more settings you can choose your color space as well as the picture size that you want exported. So I'll just choose a medium JPEG. You could use full size as well, doesn't matter. Okay, when you're ready to start processing, you go into each of the settings. So let's work on this file. So let's start with white balance. And there's the white balance it was shot at, which was daylight. Okay, so the camera is showing daylight. By the way, you can change the size of the previews. You can have a film strip view, or if you hit display, you get an enlarged view. You can scroll through the various settings using the thumb wheel or the dial on the back of the camera. So auto white balance cool, daylight, cloudy, shade, tungsten, flash, and customizing, as well as degrees Kelvin. So let's just leave it on daylight because I like that. And you can actually fine-tune your daylight settings. So if you want it cooler, you can head down into this area of your color chart. If you wanted it a bit warmer, You can head into this side and things like that. So I'm just going to leave it in the middle because it was a beautiful sunny day. So I'm just going to leave my white balance where it was. So I can hit set, or I could just leave it. Brightness correction. So let's go into this one. And I would like to make this, maybe I'll leave it for now. I might come back to this later. So let's go back. Photo style. Okay, this is where I'm going to change things up. So I shot it on a standard photo style, which is, you know, pretty good. But here's how you can quickly change your photo styles. What if you wanted it in black and white and you shot it in color? Scenery, portrait, etc. So, but in this case, I'm going to change it to vivid and see what that does. So I'm going to hit set because I like vivid, punches it up a bit. And I'm going to go into my eye dynamic and see if I want to make any changes there. Now, eye dynamic will affect your tone curve. Right now, eye dynamic is off. And if I add some eye dynamic, what it actually does, maybe you can see it, is it flattens out the tone curve a bit. I'm going to leave it punchy because that's what I want for this. So I'll just keep that the way it is. Go down the list. Contrast. Okay, this is where I'm going to play with this a bit. I'm going to add some contrast, but you can see you can go -5 to +5, and I'm going to leave it on maybe 3. That combined with the vivid color space is going to really punch up this shot. So don't forget to hit set when you've made an adjustment. I'm going to go down to my highlight curve here, and I can brighten up my highlights, which will really juice them up and separate the white from the dark even more. Maybe I'll just go with 5 on that just for fun. I'm going to go down to the shadows. Let's see what we can do in our shadows. Should I darken my shadows? Yeah, that really makes things punchy. I'm all the way at 5. I'll just leave it there. I'm going extreme on this just, you know, so that you guys can see a difference. Saturation. Do I want to add saturation to this, or do I want to take saturation away? I think I'll add like maybe +3 on the saturation, and I can hit the set again. Let's go to noise reduction. I shot this at really low ISO, like 200, so I'm not going to worry about noise reduction because I know my limits and the sensor is just fine. Eye resolution, again, I'm not going to adjust that, but I do have a whole video on that if you're interested in learning more about eye resolution. Sharpness. Now you got to keep in mind that RAW files are not sharpened, so you definitely want to add a bit of sharpness. I'm going to add 3 into that and hit set. And you should experiment with each of these settings to see the difference. Okay, more settings. I already set that up so you can see that my color space is sRGB, but if you wanted to change that, you could change it to Adobe RGB. But because I'm going directly to a JPEG, sRGB is fine, and you can change your picture size in there, 5, 10, or 20 megapixels. I'll stick with 10. Okay, let's go back, and when you're ready, you hit RAW, begin processing. And this will give you your before and after. So yes, I want to save it as a new picture, and it will begin processing that RAW file in the camera. And there we go. So let's look at the before, which is here, and here's our after. Before, so again, RAW files are flatter, they're not sharpened. I shot it and on the standard photo style, and this one is vivid and much punchier, added contrast and sharpened it up. So let's zoom into that shot, and we can see we get great detail on the edges where the snow is on the hoarfrost, we call that in these parts. And there you go. There's our RAW file from that image. There's our original RAW file, just so you know, RAW. And there's our resulting JPEG. And we can actually, if we go into the display, you can see all the changes that we made. So there's our histogram, which isn't flying really too far. Our blue channel's a little bit climbing the walls on the right side, so it's a little bit overexposed, but not terribly. Here are all the changes we made to that file. Vivid, +3 contrast, +3 sharpness, no noise reduction, and we added saturation. Here's how we adjusted our tone curve. +5 on the highlights, -5 on the shadows, and our original ISO, f-stop, and shutter speed. Okay. We didn't adjust our settings for our white balance. We left it at daylight, right in the middle. And there's our focal length and other information about this shot, the lens we used. And that is all there's to it. That resulting processed JPEG is on your memory card, and it has a specific file name attached to it as well. And when you're done, you just upload it to your camera. Maybe you could go Wi-Fi onto your phone, anything like that. I mean, if you're shooting remote, you're shooting raw files, you want to process them in the camera, this is the way to do it. But you can also set all of this up just for your JPEGs. You don't have to shoot raw and process it. You can pre-process. You could pre-process JPEG plus RAW and have a JPEG file and the RAW file just in case, and you could reprocess that RAW file. So whatever way you need to work, you can do that with internal processed RAW files. So let's look at something extreme. Can we actually fix an image that's this overexposed? Let's find out. Go to Menu Set, go to Raw Processing. So white balance, I'm going to leave that alone for now. Right now, I'm going to adjust my brightness correction, because that's the big thing wrong with this image, right? You could see that it was overexposed. So let's go to -2. Maybe let's go to, well, maybe around there. Okay, -1 1/3 stops. Okay, let's hit set. Now it looks a little flat, but let's go down and see what we got for contrast. I think we need to raise this contrast, but we're not really getting the juicy blues we had in the last shot, but we'll keep going here. I think I'm going to go up to photo style, and let's see what scenery does. Got scenery, not too bad, but I think I'm going to choose vivid. Okay, let's keep going here. Let's see what iDynamic does, if it will help us bring those highlights back. But you know what? No, I think we'll just leave that off. Didn't really do a good job, so we'll go back, choose another setting. Contrast, we're at +5. Okay, let's bring down the highlights a bit. Okay, let's bring the highlights maybe to -4. Set. Let's check the shadows. Remember, the shadows were also overexposed, so we maybe want to bring those down a bit. Set. Saturation. Sometimes when you underexpose, you lose saturation, so I'm going to bring that saturation back up. I mean, remember, we're rescuing this photo. We got to get something. We got to get something out of it. And again, sharpness. Juice that up to a 3. And, well, check our settings. I'm going to go back into medium. Oh, let's check our white balance, actually. We didn't go into that. Let's go into adjust. And maybe because we lost some of the blue in our sky, we'll just add a little blue to that, make it a little bit more wintry. Set. And now I think I'm ready to process. So there's our before and after. Yeah, it might not be the best image, but we definitely saved an image that was messed up. And that's why people shoot raw files, is to have a photo rescue. So let's go back. That was our raw file, and this is our JPEG. So yeah, I think we rescued this image. But it's, you know, you have to be careful. There are limits, and you should test those limits, because when you overexpose or underexpose extremely, you might have trouble with your color balance and things like that. So you're going to have to just be careful of that and pay attention to that. So to go back into your photos, you go back into the regular playback menu. So let's have a look at the these menus. You can see what we did here: contrast, sharpness, saturation. We took down both highlights and shadows because they were both, was very overexposed. And let's go to our original, which was here, and you can see that it was very overexposed, and there's our fixed. So you can see what we did to the histogram was quite significant. We pushed the tone curve back towards the middle and the low end. So yeah, you can save some images, but you just have to make sure you're not too far out of range. That just about covers it. So if you have any questions on editing raw files in the camera, in the Lumix G9, let me know in the comments below. I'm sure as more and more Lumix cameras come on the market, you're going to have more cameras that have the raw processing features built right into the camera. So if you've got a new camera, you can still shoot raw files, you can still open them up on your computer. You won't be stuck with a new camera, old software, and old computer problem. But let's face it, software is the cheapest part of a camera. If you're spending like $2,000 or $3,000 on a new camera system, you definitely want to back it up with, you know, a software that can deal with all those raw files, if that's the direction you go in. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate that. And if you're new to my channel and you haven't seen many of my videos before, check out some of my playlists. I have a whole playlist on the Lumix G9, and I have other playlists as well that you might be interested in. See you next time.